Hi, I'm Weston. I love talking about the Rangers, and I'm here to talk about Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals, where the Rangers win 2-1 in overtime over the Florida Panthers, and even the series back up, heading down to Sunrise for tomorrow's game. Man, this is going to be a dogfight, and I think everyone kind of unilaterally knew that going into it. It's going to be a 7-game series. Like, point blank, the biggest takeaway I have from last night's game, this is going 7. Regardless of who wins it, it is razor's edge. Because I understand what happened in Game 1 is this 3-0, you get outshot by like 10 shots or so game. That I honestly, and I will maintain this despite what anyone else will tell me, I maintain that that was an incredibly tight game where the Rangers probably got outplayed in a couple areas, probably outplayed the Panthers in a couple of others, but it was a razor-thin game. This game last night, 2-1 in overtime, shots were 30-27. And that was a game where I thought the shots felt 30-27. I thought there were, again, areas where the Rangers definitely got outplayed. I thought physically, Game 1, it was pretty even. I thought last night the Rangers had some bigger hits than in Game 1, but I think they probably got out-physicalitied significantly more in Game 2. But I also, my biggest takeaway from that game, the Rangers need to change their entire thought process of this series. I don't think you are going to be able to outplay the Panthers consistently. They are that good. My biggest takeaway from last night's game, the Panthers are not just some rando team full of a bunch of goons who are going to go out and hit you where, oh, well, if you want to beat them, just out-finesse them. Because here's the thing. The Panthers are a tough-as-nails team that's also really good at hockey. Like, unbelievably good at hockey. You are not simply going to look at them and be like, oh, yeah, they're big and tough, but just skate around. No, no, no. Like, Matthew Tkachuk is big and physical and built like a brick, but he's also fast as lightning. He's also got unbelievable hands. He also knows exactly where the puck is going to be and where he needs to be to score said puck. Sam Bennett is a, psychopath, but is also really good at hockey. Verhaeghe can get nasty, is also really freaking good at hockey. They all can fit under that category. You have to, if you are the Rangers, my takeaway from this game, you have to beat them in a few moments. A lot of games, especially when you get deeper into the playoffs, it's not a matter of one team just runs shot over the other one. There are 4 teams left out of 32. No one is here by accident. No one is here by luck. These are 4 really, really good teams. And honestly, I'm not throwing a dig at the Oilers, but going into the playoffs, I knew the Panthers were going to make the Eastern Conference Final. I was pretty darn positive the Rangers were. I figured Dallas was. The only team that I had going deeper, I thought, honestly, Winnipeg would get further than they did. They very didn't. They got beat in the first round, but that was about it. These are 3 unbelievable teams that everyone kind of thought, yeah, they're probably going far. And the Oilers are the Oilers. No, it wasn't that anyone thought, oh, yeah, the Oilers aren't a good team. It's, but Stuart Skinner. And he's had his ups, he's had his downs. They're in the Eastern, or the Western Conference Final. These are good enough teams that you don't have to think, oh, how are we going to overcome? You're all pretty even. And last night was a game where Shesterkin looked great and Bobrovsky looked great. Shesterkin had a few bigger saves. He was able to come up massive when the Rangers needed him to. He had some unreal stops last night. You're going to win in the moments. Those moments where Shesterkin in overtime or Shesterkin late in the third had those big saves. There was a massive play by Jacob Trouba with a great clear out of the blue paint. Would have been an easy goal. I think it was Bennett was in front. Those are the moments you're going to win in. And my biggest takeaway from Game 2 is the Rangers cannot be hyperfixated on playing better than them for a full 60. They have to keep it even. They cannot get outplayed significantly, but they can be outplayed to an extent, but win in the moment. Something closer to like a Nashville style, where you give your, opponent a lot of space on the outside, let them take all the shots from, elbow to elbow to the board that they want. Those far distant shot, the muffins, let him take them. Have a defenseman in front to clear the rebound. Have Shesterkin make the stops he needs to make. Last night was a game where he made more than he needed to make. Game 1 was one where I criticized and said there were a couple of saves that you'd like him to make. Last night I can't have that complaint. Give them that. If they want to just run it around the zone, whatever. Let them do it. But you've got to cash in. That's the other big thing for Game 2 for me, is the Rangers were gifted quite a few power play opportunities. They were given 4 power plays. I believe one of them was shortened due to being at the tail end of a Florida power play. You had 4 different points where you were on a power play and you didn't score. And against a team like the Panthers, you've got to make them pay when they do take their penalties. And the Panthers took some. I think my highlight of the game, outside of the fact that the Rangers won it in overtime or a Shesterkin save or anything like that, was Paul Maurice on the bench being asked, how do you feel about the fact that you took a penalty after the Rangers goal? And he was like, they got it right. That was the funniest thing. Paul Maurice is one of the most entertaining human beings to watch in the sport of hockey, and specifically to listen to. That was, the most... You ever seen that meme of the boxer responding to a hate comment, and he's like, would you say that to my face? And the comment was like, nope, you would beat the tar out of me. It has that energy of they're, trying to goad him, trying to make him be like, oh, it was a terrible penalty. He's like, nah. They punched him in the face after a goal. We needed to be penalized for that. That's fair. It was just chef's kiss out of that. To talk about the goals in the game, first period, the Rangers get on the board first. Beautiful setup from Adam Fox. Froze Bobrovsky over Vincent Trocheck. Nice way to finish it off. 7th goal of the playoffs. Very nice and tidy goal for the New York Rangers. Panthers also get on the board in the first period on a power play. Not great. Here's the thing, because I saw, obviously this gets a lot of reaction, because it was a controversial power play. Because Barkov just kind of tips over on his own power, and they call the Rangers for it. Now, here's the thing. I don't think Barkov flopped. Now granted, I am nowhere near the skater that Barkov is, but I've been on the ice quite a bit. And sometimes, when your feet just start to go out from under you a little bit, that's just kind of how you fall. It will make you fall in the most cartoonish way possible. I don't think he was like, I'm going to milk a call. I think he just kind of fell, but did it in a normal cartoony way that happens when you're on ice and the thing you're standing on the ice with are knife shoes, and the refs called it. Now, I don't like that they called it because the Rangers didn't do anything, but I also am not mad at Barkov for, he flopped. No, I think he just kind of tripped. It's unfortunate that they score on that power play, but we all knew it was coming the second it happened. You go to the second period, again, no goals in the second or third. There were moments where I'm like, yeah, it's just imminent. I thought, especially in the waning minutes of the third period, it was imminent for the Panthers to score, but the Rangers hold them. You get to overtime. The Rangers had a couple of good chances, a couple of good looks, and finally, Trouba back around the goal line, fires it out, takes a hit. It's up to Barclay Goodrow, who knocks the puck down, gives it over to Vincent Trocheck, carries in, beautiful pass over to Goodrow, and I'm going to catch a lot of heat for this, and I'm okay with that, because sometimes I just want to praise a player who has been hated a lot, and Barclay Goodrow has been hated a lot over his time as a New York Ranger, because he has not performed to be a $3.5 million player. And while I think that is true, I think Barclay Goodrow has been a pretty solid, third, fourth line Ranger. And this goal, I understand that this is going to be the most old man talking head that I have ever been, debatably Simpsons old man yelling at clouds type beat, and I'm okay with it. The Rangers had a moment in the game before, in game 1, where Gustafsson he had space in front of the net, right down Main Street, and he passed. And he gave it to Kakko, and Kakko got a great shot off, but he couldn't cash in. There have been a lot of times where the Rangers have had really good looks and you're screaming to shoot the puck. And they just haven't. And Barclay Goodrow, who, no offense to Barclay Goodrow, but of Goodrow, Trocheck, and Cully, who I believe were the 3 Ranger forwards on the ice at that moment, because you had VC leave with an injury, and Rempe wasn't getting basically any playing time in overtime. Side note, Rempe back in the lineup. I'm not saying that's the reason you won, but I am saying it is getting incredibly difficult to not look at the record with Rempe in the lineup and not say, even if he's not the reason, maybe you should just do it for luck. But Barclay Goodrow, of those 3 forwards, is probably the least talented among forwards. Not bad, just among those three, who would you necessarily want the puck on the stick of in overtime? But he has the puck. He's won in the playoffs a lot. He's won in overtime in the playoffs. And he fires off a rocket of a shot. I'm not saying that it was a beautiful shot, side note. It was an unbelievable goal, perfect, basically unstoppable for Bobrovsky. Like, what do you want out of Bob? He played great for the Panthers, the only reason it got to overtime. But Goodrow knows that sometimes you just have to take it. A lot of the Rangers have spent this playoff at times, and not even in this playoff, in these two games, especially last year, especially the year before that, where they are looking for this perfect shot that sometimes doesn't come. Goodrow had the puck on his stick, he had a little bit of space, he had a little bit of time, and he rocketed a shot because sometimes that perfect shot isn't going to come, and sometimes you, with the puck on your stick, have to make the perfect shot instead of setting somebody else up for said perfect shot. He scored a beaut, and the Rangers even the series up at 1 apiece. Now, obviously, this is a huge game for the Rangers. Going down 2-0 when you have home ice is virtually a death sentence. I say that as if the Devils didn't do that to the Rangers last year. But in an Eastern Conference final, I believe there was one other team to overcome going down 2-0 with home ice. They avoid that. It's a best of 5. Unfortunately, the Panthers have home ice now in the best of 5. But the Rangers can go win on the road. They won on the road in Raleigh. They won on the road in Washington. They won on the road in the past, in Tampa. They didn't win in Tampa. I had to take that back. They won in Raleigh the year before that, and they won in Pittsburgh the year before that. They've got to go get it done in Florida. They've got to steal at least one. And their first opportunity is going to be tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. I'll be here afterwards to talk about it, but as for right now, that's all I have to say. If you enjoyed the video, please consider to like and subscribe. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day, and as always, go Rangers.